Hey, everybody, welcome back to the SuperBake podcast. I'm your host, SuperBake. Let's talk about stuff. I'm really on the fence about getting Armored Core 6. I've never played any of the previous Armored Core games. I don't even really know that much about them other than the fact that they're basically mech games. I don't really know that many people that play them either, at least not to my knowledge. But right now, AC6 is on sale in the PlayStation Store. I know it's from the developer FromSoft, and I love a lot of their other games. Even though, full disclosure, I've never played the Dark Souls series, but I have played Bloodborne, Elden Ring, the Demon Souls remake. I almost picked up Sekiro, but I heard that game is really tough if you're not used to those kind of games. And I mean, I'm not. I'm more of a casual FromSoft gamer. I enjoy them, but I'm not a pro by any means. But I'm not gonna lie, I've been watching the YouTube videos for Armored Core 6, some of the builds people have done, and just the different paint jobs people have done. People have made their mechs look like Evangelion and Gundams and stuff, and I'm just like, God, that looks so fucking sick. I I'll have to think about that one. I mean, if anyone feels free to chime in on the YouTube channel to let me know like what you thought of that game. Like, I know in terms of difficulty, it's supposed to be a lot different from Elden Ring, for example. It's more mission based, and some missions can vary in length. Some can be incredibly long, some can be very short, and you have to use different loadouts to determine the build of your mech. So you have to change loadouts quite a bit. Otherwise, you're probably going to get your ass kicked by a bunch of bosses and stuff. So, whereas in games like Elden Ring, yeah, you can change builds, but I rolled through that game with mostly the same build for a good chunk of the game. I didn't really start changing my build until I got to that son of a bitch, the fire giant. And then I changed it up a little bit. But for the most part, I ran the same build throughout the entire game. But I'll have to think about that one. I mean, it's on sale. I think it's like 40 bucks. Might be worth my time. I don't know. I'm kind of getting really into Souls-like games, even though I know that that game's a little bit different. But I'll have to think about that. If I do get it, I'll definitely record my thoughts on here. Also, I think I've said this before. I have been rewatching the Venture Bros series. I just love that series so much. I know I'm a broken record on that, but it's just so good. I cannot recommend it enough if you haven't seen it. It's so funny and such a well written show. I may have to go back and do a review of that one at some point. Also, it doesn't hurt that I'm not. I'm pretty proud of this. I can do an impression of Henchman 24 from that show. Have to kind of get into to think about what he says in that show, but oh yeah, the stanza. I forgot about the stanza bit. Oh man, my stanza. Dave's gonna kill me. Oh, we can always take my Nissan stanza. I love that voice. I know in the show, the Monarch compares him to Ray Romano, which is kind of close. It's kind of a cross between Ray Romano, kind of Kermit the Frog, yes, but it's like it's not too far off from Jordan Peterson. I actually found out recently I can kind of sort of approximate Jordan Peterson. He's like people compare him to like Kermit the Frog. It's close, but it's more like it's a couple octaves higher, and like you kind of have to add in that like Canadian accent. So it's like I have to kind of every time I listen to him talk, he always kind of just rambles about nothing. I mean, I don't have a big problem with Jordan Peterson, I guess. I don't really know a whole lot about him. I've seen a few lectures that he's done. Seems like a, fairly interesting guy, but like trying to think of what he says. Like, you see, the thing is, the carnivore diet. I went on that a few years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's wonderful. I love it. I felt so great, And then I was watching the Venture Bros the other day, and it's a wonderful show. I love it. The writing is really good. It's it's very concise and deep, and if you watch it, you see that there's more going on there than meets the eye. It's not just Rusty and Brock Sampson and the boys, but there's also all these little nuanced characters in this backstory, and I love the idea of him being just a huge fan of the Venture Bros. I think he does lectures in colleges. I don't know if he still does them, but I think it'd be so funny if Jordan Peterson just randomly brought that up during one of his lectures, just right in the middle of a psychology course. He's just like like if you haven't seen Venture Bros, you really should check it out. I think it's fantastic, and just the masculinity of the character Brock Sampson. He's a really dangerous fellow. He goes around, he beats up those henchmen, the Monarch henchmen, which is
It's really interesting to watch. Although he beats up the one that sounds like me, so I don't care for that. But the rest of the show is really great, and oh my gosh, and then it turns out that the Rusty's father, Jonas Venture Senior, turns out he's actually kind of a jackass.
I love the idea of him just rambling on about that, and then his students being like, "Professor, can we just get back to the lecture about the super ego?"
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that. There is an episode of the Venture Bros where they explore the superego of Rusty Venture.
I love the idea of him just dismantling his entire college lecture just to give a review of the Venture Bros. I would actually listen into that. If Jordan Peterson gave a review of the entire Venture Bros series, I would actually listen to that 100%. I think that would actually be very entertaining. I'd love to hear his take on just a few of the episodes, just some of my personal favorites, like 21's journey, like how he becomes a better henchman. I'd love to just to get see Jordan Peterson's thoughts on that. Like,
Oh, the henchman 21, he has the best character arc out of everyone in the show. Quite possibly, he goes from being a feeble henchman to being actually a legitimate badass by the end of the show, and he's a wonderful character and just wonderfully written. It's a great show. By gosh.
oh man, I would love to hear that. So, on that note, I guess I'll talk about the new Devil May Cry anime series that premiered on Netflix on April 3rd. This one kind of snuck up on me. I was not even aware that there was a new anime series for Devil May Cry in the works. So, I've only played the first three, well, really two games in the Devil May Cry series. I played a little bit of the first one, but I don't remember a whole lot of it. I played the second one and the third one. The third one was always my favorite of those games. And I didn't really play any of the newer ones, kind of fell out of that series for a while, although I know a little bit about it. Like, I remember Dante, his brother Virgil, the chick Lady from, I think, Devil May Cry 3. Other than that, I don't really remember a whole lot about it. It was a fun action series. I always liked Dante as a character, but beyond that, it didn't really stick with me too much. Just kind of gave me God of War vibes, I guess. So I was pretty surprised about this. Like I said, I had no idea this was even happening. This is from Studio Mir. I hope I'm saying that correctly. The same studio that I believe did Legend of Korra as well as the Voltron series. And it stars, and I had to double check to make sure that I was correct, that I wasn't hearing things. It is Johnny Young Bosch plays Dante, which really threw me off. It's also kind of interesting too, because like he reprises his role as Vash the Stampede in Trigun Stampede that came out a couple of years ago, and now he's playing Dante, another lovable doofus wearing a red trench coat with guns. So interesting, interesting character choice there. But I love Johnny Young Bosch. He's one of my favorite voice actors. I think he's fantastic. So it's cool to see him playing this character, and I think he's probably one of the best parts of the show overall. I also found out too, Kevin Conroy, the fucking voice of Batman from Batman the Animated Series, is in this one too, who plays the Vice President Baines. When he first started talking, I almost didn't think that was him for just a split second, but then I looked it up and sure enough it was. And then also, this apparently was Kevin Conroy's last known voice acting role, which was kind of sad. I'm still so bummed that he passed away. One of my all-time favorite voice actors, and to me, one of the best, the quintessential Batman. Like, nothing against, Christian Bale, but I like Christian Bale as Batman. I like Michael Keaton as Batman, but to me, Kevin Conroy will always be the quintessential Batman. So just knowing that this was his last role, that was kind of sad to find that out. But yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and just give my thoughts on the show overall, just based on the first two episodes. The first two episodes, titled Inferno and Our Lady of Sorrows. Yes, okay. I have this list pulled up in front of me. I just want to make sure that I say it correctly. So I don't know if this follows the story of the games very much because it's been a long time since I played those games. I don't remember a whole lot about them. But it seems to be essentially kind of like the story of Devil May Cry 3 in a sense, Dante's Awakening. Like, it shows Dante, he's a demon hunter for hire. And the plot seems to be around there's this rabbit, this demon rabbit who breaks into the Vatican to steal the sword of Sparta, and he needs a jewel in order to open the portal of hell to basically unleash hell upon the earth. And Dante basically has the jewel around his neck, which is supposed to go into the slot on the sword. And so essentially that seems to be the plot overall. The first episode, we're introduced to the rabbit demon. He shows up and takes out a bunch of mercenaries that he hires in the first episode. And man, I have to say right off the bat, the animation in this show is sick as hell. It's really good. Pretty bloody, definitely gives me reminds me of the Castlevania series in a sense with how gory it can get, although it's not at least from what I've seen so far in the first 2 episodes, it's not super over the top, but it's definitely pretty gory, but, yeah, I mean, games were also pretty violent too. And the animation itself is just so fluid, especially I noticed, like, when they do, like, sword fights. There's a part in the fight with the rabbit where he's deflecting bullets with his sword, and man, the way they animate that, like, the flames that click off the sword, the sparks that click off the sword whenever the bullets bounce off of them is really awesome. Like, the whole scene's done really well. Like, if nothing else, I will definitely say the animation has really impressed me so far, like, in the first 2 episodes. I was kinda nervous that maybe they, kind of blew their budget in the first few minutes of the first episode, but no, it keeps up, like, well into the second episode. It's the animation is really stellar. Like, that's one thing that I will definitely give the show credit on is the animation is fantastic. Episode 1 does a pretty good job of introducing the villain as well as Dante as a character. We see him, like, in his first encounter when he saves this mother from this demon that's posing as her baby, but it's like this shape-shifting demon that's trying to get his necklace, and we get a really kick-ass fight scene where we see Dante in this bar, and it turns out or this, diner, and it turns out he can also move, like, super fast. I don't remember if that was something that was in the games or not. He kinda moves at, like, Flash level speeds and saves the people in the bar, and we get, like, a quick glimpse of, like, Virgil, who apparently is gonna be in this show as well, even though it's revealed later it's actually the shape-shifting demon, but yeah, like, the action in this show is really awesome. Just the way they animate everything, the way they show the movement of, like, Dante, like, how he moves very quickly, it's like they do a good job of making him seem very agile, but at the same time, very powerful. You definitely get the sense that this guy knows how to kick some serious ass, like and we see it, and also, I love in classic Devil May Cry style, just the endless barrage of bullets that Dante shoots at the enemies. Like in the very first fight when he's fighting those 3 demons attacking that mother, like he just unloads just a ridiculous amount of bullets at his enemies, which is just I always found that so funny about the games. I don't remember if the games ever addressed that or not, like if that was just if his guns had like some kind of demon power or something that allowed them to do that, but it was always just one of those, at least to me, just it was never directly clarified, but I never questioned it. It was just so fucking cool that I always loved it, and that kinda makes an appearance in the show. And then one of my favorite scenes, which I think is in episode 2, when, they Dante gets he gets set up by this guy named Enzo, and there's a bunch of mercenaries coming into his apartment to get him, and I love the fight scene in there, just the way they show Dante moving between the bullets, and he's basically just smacking around these mercenaries, and the way he, like, slaps his sword on them using, like, the flat side of the sword so he doesn't kill them is just it's comical, but it does a really good job of really displaying, like, just how badass he is. I did see a few things in the show that I kinda recognized from the game besides Dante and Virgil, like, I saw the character Lady, she's introduced in episode 2, and they do a good job of establishing her as a pretty badass character. Of course, I remember her from Dante's Awakening. I think she was also in there was an older anime series of Devil May Cry that came out in the early to late 2000s, I think. I think she was in that as well. But she's in this show too. She's part of the mercenary group Darkcom that's trying to find Dante's necklace, and we see her encounter with Dante in episode 2 where she does have a quick encounter with Dante, and they do actually end up capturing him and loading him up in their truck, and that's kind of where the episode ends. But overall, like I guess like for me, the animation's probably been the best part of the show. The animation, the action sequences, it's all been really good. I'm kind of trying to reserve judgment a little bit just because I want to wait until I see like the full season before I give my final thoughts on it as far as like, like how much I like it, what I didn't like about it. But if I had to be nitpicky, I would say in the first 2 episodes, the things that I love, the animation, the action sequences are fantastic. The voice acting overall is really good, particularly from Kevin Conroy, who's always fantastic, and Johnny Young Bosch, who is also great as well. The voice acting across the board is really good. If I had to give some negatives for the show, and again, I'm trying to keep an open mind since I haven't seen the whole season yet. I believe it's supposed to be 8 episodes, but y- the only character right now that I'm really gravitating towards is Dante. Like, and I love his character. Like, he's just kind of a badass, lovable goofball. Like, just the way he just does weird stuff. Like, he has such a great sense of humor. Like the part where doing like Dance Dance Revolution in his apartment and stuff. It's like it kind of fits his character. It's just so weird and out of nowhere, yet I don't really question it. He's honestly probably the heart and soul of the show so far, and I love it. Again, kind of like a badass version of Bash the Stampede. The other characters in the show, like, I'll be honest, I kind of found myself forgetting their names or, who they really were, other than the character Lady. Other than that, everybody else is just kind of there. Like, it's not that they're bad characters or poorly written. Like, I like the character Enzo. He's kind of funny, kind of a comical relief, kind of a slimy scumbag character, but I don't know, none of them really have, at least for me personally, I kind of forget that they're even there until they kind of show up and have dialogue. So, I guess for me, that's probably the weakest part right now is just the characters are not incredibly interesting, but I don't know, maybe they'll get more time to get fleshed out. I'm kind of waiting for later episodes. It sounds like it kind of picks up a little bit later from what I've heard online, so I'll wait and see. Like when I give my thoughts on episodes 3 and 4, maybe then we'll kind of see if the other characters, if things kind of ramp up for them. I really want to see like if Dante, because it seems like it's definitely leading towards him and his eventual encounter with the rabbit demon. So I want to see how that plays out. Uh, I remember his encounter and his relationship with Lady from the game Devil May Cry 3. So I don't know how much this is going to follow that relationship or that story. Kind of makes me wonder if Jester from that game, like the villain, is going to show up in this one as well. Also, I did notice as a little, I guess it's supposed to be an Easter egg to the games, but the female protagonist from Devil May Cry 2 does make an appearance in this as well. It's pretty quick. You don't really get a whole lot out of her. I think she has like maybe one spoken line of dialogue. I don't remember her name, but like she's the redhead girl from Devil May Cry 2, the other playable character from that game. She shows up in this briefly. She's like one of the bounty hunters that the government's trying to round up to basically hunt demon hunters. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, I would say the first two episodes, they're good. They do a good job of getting you interested in the action, setting up Dante as a character. I guess I would just say so far the writing doesn't have me incredibly invested in what's happening, but it's not bad by any means. And the characters aren't incredibly compelling, but again, outside of Dante, but I'm waiting for the later episodes to kind of see, how it all plays out. Also, I have to say, one thing that really threw me off is that they play the song Rolling by Limp Bizkit. That's like the opening song, which was really fucking weird. Like that definitely was not on my bingo card for 2025. I was not picturing that as the opening for the Devil May Cry anime series. I guess it's kind of fitting because this definitely feels like it's trying to go back to like that retro like 2000s video game feels. So, I mean, I don't remember when the hell that song came out. I want to say like what the early to mid 2000s possibly. I don't remember, but yeah, when they started playing that song, I remember just thinking that was like nostalgia for me. I was like, "Wow, I'm back in fucking high school, like middle school, high school again. This is crazy." So, but yeah, I mean, overall, I'm gonna wait until I see the all 8 episodes before I give my final thoughts on the season. But I think next week I'm gonna try to get up my thoughts on episodes 3 and 4, see how those are, see if those kind of help ramp up the story a little bit, because at that point I'll be basically halfway through the season. But I mean, as of right now, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I would say definitely if you like the animation style of Legend of Korra and Voltron, I think you'll dig the animation in this, especially since this is definitely more adult, definitely a lot more violent. This is definitely not for little kids for sure. Definitely not kid friendly. So if you have kids, especially ones that kind of get freaked out by violence and gore and creepy ass demons, this probably is not the show that you want them to watch. But I mean, if you enjoyed the old Devil May Cry series, I'd say the first 2 episodes have, for the most part, hooked me. So as of right now, I would say I give it a probably a gentle recommendation, I suppose would be the best way I can put it. But yeah, I'll let you guys know my final thoughts on it once I see the full season. So next up, I'm going to talk about the trailer for the new Predator Killer of Killers anthology film that is supposed to come out this year. Man, if you're a fan of Predator films, this is definitely the year for you. I didn't even know about this movie, and apparently this is coming out before the next Predator movie, which is also scheduled this year, which is Badlands, which is coming out, I believe, in November. I'll have to watch the trailer for that. I think it premiered pretty recently. I didn't even know about that. Both of these things snuck up on me. All these shows and movies sneaking up on me. But I'll talk about the trailer for Killer of Killers just because this looks so fucking sick. I am 1,000,000% on board with this movie. directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who did direct Prey. I did my review of that movie a couple years ago. Really loved that film. So it's an animated movie, which I'm totally on board with. I love these animated films like this. It's 3D animated. I'm not sure the studio that actually is handling the animation part of it, but it reminds me a lot of Blue Eyed Samurai slash something from like Arcane Studios, just the way the character models look. But what really looks cool about this movie is that it's not just one time period. It looks like it's going to be three different time periods. So there's going to be one predator that is in feudal Japan, um, fighting some samurai. One that I believe is in World War One or World War Two, fighting a fighter pilot. Yeah, it's a World War Two fighter pilot that takes them on using their plane. And then there's another predator fighting in the Viking era. So you get to see three different, pretty distinct time periods going up against the predators. Man, yes, I am 100% on board with this. Like, this is what I wanted. I think I even mentioned this when I did my review for Prey. Like, I wanted to see them. Number one, I really wanted to see the Predators like in feudal Japan and take on like samurai and ninjas, and it looks like we're going to get a lot of that in this film. Like, there's a clip in the trailer where it shows this guy climbing up this wall in feudal Japan, and there's a predator with his cloaking device on the wall right next to him. Also, I love the way they made the Predator look in this too. Like they look so much bigger and more imposing, which is how I feel like the Predators should look, just given how strong they are. Like the fact that they can lift guys off the ground with like one arm, I feel like they should be like these big imposing guys. In the movies, I felt like they were always played by guys in suits with in Prey, I think it was a guy in a suit, but with like CGI over him, if I'm not mistaken. So because of that, it kind of felt like sometimes there were limitations on how big they could make them. But with this, you can make them as big as you want, and they really do look imposing. The clip in the trailer where you actually see the predator roar, God, it looks so cool. Like I love the idea of like animating these creatures in these different time periods. That's so awesome. And yeah, just seeing like the different characters from the different time periods and the tools they have to use to take on the predators, like the fighter pilots trying to outrun the predator ship in their World War II era planes. God, that scene where the Predator ship shoots that hook through the plane and drags the pilot out of it. God, that was so sick. Like, and I really cannot wait to see the Predator take on the samurai. That clip where you see them all drawing their swords, it's just like they didn't show it in the trailer, but you know that we're going to get a pretty sick scene where the Predator is going to pull out his wrist blades to take them on. Yeah, this just looks so cool. Like I love the Predator films. I love Prey, and yeah, I want to see more films like this. I really hope that they continue this. I hope they continue, especially with like the animated portion of this. Like the idea of like seeing predators throughout different time periods, hunting humans, going after them, and stuff like that. I think that is such a cool, unique idea, and it really gives a lot of room for creativity in terms of like how you these show people from like different time periods and how they manage to fight the predators using the tools they have available at the time to take them on. Because I guess the idea is like the predators are always going to be more technologically advanced than humans. So it's interesting to see like how humans use maybe like their knowledge of the land or like the weapons they have at that time to take on the predators. We got to see some of that in Prey with the Native Americans when they took on the predator in that film. So I'm really curious to see how they handle it in this one, particularly with the Vikings and the samurai in feudal Japan. I really can't wait to see how they do that. Those are the two time periods that I'm really anxious to see. The World War II plot, I mean, it looks kind of interesting, I guess. But the thing with that one is really, I would assume the pilot's just going to use the technology they have, but the predator is automatically going to have an advantage over them since they have a spaceship. So it'll be interesting to see like how they pull that off. But I think the parts in feudal Japan and the Viking era, I think that's what I'm really excited to see. Especially just like there's a scene with the in feudal Japan where you see one of the characters, I'm assuming it's the main character in that segment using like a smoke bomb to escape from the predator. God, that just sounds so sick. Like the idea of like just the idea of a predator fighting a ninja or a shinobi and a samurai to me just sounds so cool because it's like the idea of like these two warriors who really aren't too dissimilar from one another in terms of like their tactics using like stealth and sneaking around to take out their opponents often from a distance and really only relying on close hand-to-hand combat when they absolutely have to. Sounds like such an awesome idea. Like this is what I've wanted to see, and I really hope that it lives up to at least what I'm expecting here. I don't know how long the movie's supposed to be. I don't know if they've actually provided the link to the film. The release date is June 6th, and it's supposed to release on Hulu. So, because that's what the last Predator movie came out or released on. It looks like this is going to be the sixth film and the eighth installment overall in the Predator franchise. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this I'm super excited about this one. And like I said, I'll check out the trailer for Predator Badlands because I'm curious about that one. I didn't even know this was happening. I really been out of the loop on these movies lately. But my God, this film looks so fucking sick. I legitimately am excited about this one. So June 6th definitely cannot get here soon enough. Like, yes, Hollywood, yes. More of this, please. All right, everyone. I think that's going to conclude tonight's episode. Once again, I am on Anchor, Spotify, and YouTube. If you like what you heard, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time. Take care, everyone.